This evening I did a Pecha Kucha thing, but it wasn't recorded, so I'm going to just go through these slides in my living room at 1 o'clock in the morning. So this won't have quite the same impact as doing it in a room with lots of people listening, but hopefully I'll be able to at least approximate the urgency. No, who am I kidding? So let's go. This is me. My name is Peter Ashton. I take photographs using a strange camera. At the top of the camera is a digital camera, and at the bottom of the camera is an old vintage camera from the 1950s, Kodak Duoflex. I've been doing this for about 4 years, and some of my photos will be coming up very shortly, about now. This is 4 of the photos that I've taken. The rounded corners and distortions you see in those are part of the process that comes from the camera itself. The saturation and contrast, that all comes from post-processing. I was introduced to TTV through the viewfinder photography by Stu Parker. This is Stu. It's a self-portrait of his. I met him at a Flickr meet, which I should go and talk to in a second. Stu had come across the idea at through somebody he knew on Flickr. We all saw him using his TTV machine in Digbeth, and we were all surprised at what it was. This is a Flickr meet in Digbeth. What I like about this is it's 3 people pointing their cameras in different directions at things they found interesting on what's an otherwise, or what most people consider to be a very boring, dull street. The nice thing about Flickr meets is you get lots of people taking pictures of the same thing, as you see here. The nice thing about this, is from a photography point of view, is you get to learn how different different people see the same things as you. So you take a photograph of a thing, and they then take a photograph of the thing, and then you compare them. And the great thing about Flickr is they all wind up online about the same time, so you can look at them. There's 4 pictures of the same wall. This is a yellow wall in the Jury Quarter. What I like about this is it's a very simple thing, very simple wall, but all these people have gone up to it and approached it in their different ways, and you apply this to everything else in the city, and it starts getting really interesting. I want to talk about some other people now. This is Nikki Pugh. She's a good friend of mine. She's an artist who is interested in place. This is a photo I took of her using my TTV machine with a 3-way prism attached to it, hence the slightly distorted look. Is also taken in a pub with a flash. She's interested in place. She does a project called Uncertain East Side, where she walks around the city. Is one of her maps. She walks around the east side area of Birmingham. What she does here is she holds 2 GPS devices, one in each hand, and where there is no interference, you get the straight line. As you see on the east side of East Side, and on the west you can see where there's a built-up area, it gets quite distorted. She's interested in this sort of ambiguity of the area. This is Ben Waddington. He's interested in typography, but also interested in place. He does a series of type tours around Birmingham, and various other sort of psychogeographic type tours, or sort of tours. This is him by the Basketball Monument in Centenary Square. He does a lot of, like I say, there's a lot of tours around looking at typefaces and seeing how typefaces tell you about the history of a place from the modern day to the past. This is a ghost sign in Digbeth, which I found and immediately asked Ben about, and of course he knew about it. The interesting thing about Digbeth, about all these things combining together, and this history that's sort of layered upon the architecture. This is Nikki Getgood. She runs the Digbeth is Good blog, which is a blog about the Digbeth area. She talks about the highfalutin culture stuff and the redevelopment stuff and the Irish community things, but she also picks up on the little granular things, or the things that people normally wouldn't notice. One of her projects is Digbeth food wastage, where she, whenever she sees some food that's been wasted in the city, she takes a photograph of it and sticks it on the blog. Now, to most people, in fact to all people except Nikki, this is a really bizarre thing to do, but I like it because it's that sort of it's that blatant looking at things from a strange angle, from a different angle at the mundane. This here is Matt Murtaugh. He's a good friend of mine. I met him on Birmingham Flickr meet, one of the first Birmingham Flickr meets, and he's somebody I've learned a lot from over the years. This is him, a photograph I took of him when we were shooting in Highbury Park in the snow in January, February this year. He's interested in place as well. This is a series of panoramas he does of Birmingham. where he takes many photos and places them together in a style not dissimilar to David Hockney's Joiners. The nice thing about this is it manages to combine time, because he goes back to the place again and again and layers these times onto one picture. Going back to my work, I continue to take photographs around Birmingham over the last 4 years. This is Spaghetti Junction. Nice thing about visiting Spaghetti Junction is you get to see an icon of Birmingham from the wrong side, from the wrong angle. Not many people see it from this side, and there are some fascinating shapes and fascinating patterns in there. When I started doing the TTV, I was living in Bourneville, so a lot of the early ones I've taken are of that area. This is one from, I think, the first month or two. It's quite a simple process that I put on this, but there's something quite nice about it, which I can't quite put into words. So I'll just look at it. I've also returned to Digbeth again and again. This is from Flickr Meet in 2008, I think, or maybe 2009. This is there's something about these shapes and the colours that you get in Digbeth. This combination of industrial monolithic stuff and also the graffiti and other things. And also, something I've been doing recently is these polyptychs. This is where I take a number of photos of a building or similar and stitch them together. This is Alpha Tower, so it's 15 photos of Alpha Tower taken from different angles, flattening out the whole building. Coming up next is Town Hall. So this is, I think that's just 8 photos of Town Hall, taken from 2 specific points, about a third of the way into the building on each side. Town Hall I've always found a tricky building to photograph, because while it's a lovely building, it's quite boring in a strange way. It's very flat, and so I was trying to mix it up a little bit on that one. And then finally, this is my muse. This is Pershore Street car park, a beautiful piece of monolithic, well, not monolithic really, but of brutalist architecture on the border of Digbeth and the city centre. This one's the one that went wrong, but actually then it turned out to go right. It's one tower taken from 2 different angles, but it looks like it's talking to itself. And that's me. Thank you very much.